This fireside conversation is close to my heart. It is with my dear old friend Don McAlvany. Don is the founder and chairman of the Asian Pacific Children's Fund, or APCF. Prior to APCF, Don worked in the financial world for over 50 years. He successfully built and managed several companies, published 2 best-selling books, and worked as a financial and geopolitical advisor for decades. Today, he and his wife Molly live in the Philippines and are fully dedicated to the work of APCF, and without compensation. Traveling Asia in 2006, they realized how tremendous the need for well-run and trustworthy children's homes truly is. They therefore founded APCF. The interesting thing is that they do not found new homes themselves. They find and support local, well-run, and already existing homes that need support. In this conversation, Don shares the history of APCF, how the homes are organized, where the donated money goes, and where today's biggest challenges and opportunities lie, and the future he envisions for these kids. APCF is a good cause. I have supported it for many years, and I'm a member of its board of directors. I love the mission and the impact of APCF, and I admire Don and Molly for everything they do and for what they have built. If you would like to support APCF, please do go to the website at apcf.world where you can donate. We really appreciate any financial support you are able to give. And if you like this conversation, please do share it with your friends and family. And as always, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So Don, welcome to Switzerland. You guys got here yesterday?
2 days ago. 2 days ago, flew in from the Philippines, and yeah.
How's the jet lag?
Not so bad. Not nearly as bad as when you fly from the Philippines and go east towards the to the west coast of the United States. The jet lag is you're going against the time. You're flying with the time. It's better. So
that's
anyway,
good. So you won't fall asleep on us here.
I hope I won't fall asleep.
So afterwards you're going on to Germany, then to the US and visiting family. We'll touch on that. But first let's start. Today we really want to focus on the Asian Pacific Children's Fund, APCF, which is something you and your family created out of nothing and have really built into something amazing and beautiful. Why don't you tell us a bit about what APCF is all about?
Okay, well, Molly and I first went out to Asia on kind of a Christian mission thing in 2002, and we took a real interest in children's homes there, and then we went down shortly thereafter and visited our son who was working with a children's home down in Bali, Indonesia, and so we began to develop an interest in Asian orphans and think about it a lot, and so in 2006, Molly and I and our son Scott, we hatched the idea of setting up a 501c3 tax-exempt foundation, charitable foundation in America, which we called the Asian Pacific Children's Fund, to try to help orphanages. So we don't try to start orphanages. We're not trying to run orphanages. We're not there on the scene, and we don't speak the language always. And so, but we decided. I think we begin to understand that there's millions and millions of very poor, very hurting children all across Asia. They're impoverished, millions are on the streets, 3 million a year, I think, are sex trafficked, little girls and so forth. And so the poverty and suffering among children is huge out there. The orphans, huge. And so we saw that on our first trip, and then going down with Scott down to Indonesia. And so
So was that Scott that got you onto that? So basically, he recognized those problems, and then
he saw it at the same time we did. We saw it and got involved with a children's home, which is where we live now in the Philippines. He got involved with a children's home in Bali, and so we kind of saw that, and then we kind of joined forces. And so in 2006. We decided to set up this foundation, APCF, Asian Pacific Children's Fund. So our vision then, and it's still our vision now, is to help as many hurting orphans across Asia as we can. We would love to help thousands or millions, but obviously we can't do that. So we'll help as many as we can.
So the concept really, if you describe that, you don't actually start the homes yourself, but what you do is you look for homes that you feel are run by good people, and then you support those homes. I guess that's the basic concept.
We want homes that are run by really good people. If they're Christian homes, that's great, and they're teaching Christian values to the children. They have to be, of course, financially responsible. They have to be people who are not abusive in any way, and you do find that in some children's homes around the world, where the people who run the homes are very abusive to the children. And one more thing.
So how do you do that? Do you actually then spend time there, or how do you find these homes? How does that actually happen?
We have people refer the homes to us and tell us about the homes, and then Molly and I have gone and spent time at the homes. We go and we do our own research on the homes with the people and so forth, and think about it, study it, pray about it, and so forth. And do we always make the best decisions? No, we had a home that we had to discontinue because they were financially irresponsible. We had supported them for a while, and then began to realize that they were not being totally honest. And so, we have to be careful. And so, but I think we do a pretty good job of selecting the homes. But one of the key things is it has to be a home that is not on everybody's radar screen. We work with one home down in Indonesia now, where we go see them. I speak there when I'm in Bali, and they're wonderful people, wonderful home, perfect home. Except for one thing, they've already got lots of supporters. They've got supporters, and they're well known, and they're on the radar screen.
So they don't really need your help at that point.
They don't really need us.
Right? You're helping smaller or less known homes.
We're looking for hurting homes, like the home we have in Myanmar. When we encountered them first and learned about their plight, they were probably going to close down within about 2 weeks. They had they lost all their supporters, and so we went and saw them, and we're their exclusive supporter now. So we're looking for people who really need the help, and so if they've already got lots of supporters, then we'll find somebody that really, because there's a lot of people out there that don't, that are barely making it. They're barely making it with food budgets, and of course, food and all the costs in the third world, all over the world, are going up, as you well know. And so it's taking more money, and of course they have to be very firm on education. They have to want to educate the children. The home that we live at in the Philippines, I think, has put, in the last 25 or 30 years, probably 80 to 85 children through university. They've gotten university degrees. We've got 17 children in university right now, and so
in the Philippines or
in
overall?
No,
in
at that particular
alone?
home. At that particular home. No, in other homes, there's more scattered around the world.
Right.
So anyway,
so this has been quite a journey. You started in 2006, and you started with those two homes, the one in the Philippines and in Bali.
Mm-hmm.
And you actually when did you guys move to the Philippines? When was that?
We moved out there about 2006.
Oh, so pretty much at the beginning, you actually...
Yeah, we began to develop a heart for the Philippine people, the Asian people, which was all new. I have to say that, I was in the financial world up until this all happened, and we went out there. There was just a heart change. It's like a guy must have done a heart transplant or something. All of a sudden, we got this new calling, and the business wasn't as much fun. So we went out, and so we started looking around. So we're in 5 countries now. We're in Indonesia and the Philippines, India, Nepal, and Myanmar. And eventually, we'll probably be in other Asian countries. But those are the ones that we kind of got the contacts in the first. So we have 11 children's homes now, with about 500 children in those homes. We would like to have a lot more than 11. If we added in the next 5, 6, 7 years, if we could add another 5 to 10, well, I would say in the next 5 years, I would like to add at least 5 more homes. In the next 10 years, probably at least 10 more homes. So we're greedy. We want more. We want more orphans. We want more orphans.
When I started working with you guys and learning about APCF, What, one of the things that really intrigued me is your idea to actually help grow and foster kids that then also take on leadership roles within the homes. How has that been working out?
We see that coming. It's not happened as fast as we hoped it would happen, but we are grooming a few kids right now to be helping more in the homes, as well as helping us go out and find new homes and work with the homes too. So that's kind of part of our long-term plan, because it takes time, effort, and energy and so forth to fly around to the different countries.
I was just
and go
going to
to
say,
homes.
you have to do that because it's so important that you are able to actually go visit, check up, advise, help, and make the decisions. But you can't do that endlessly. You can't grow the system without having more help, I guess.
Yeah, so we're grooming several right now, and over the next year or two, we see some of these coming on stream. They will in turn help us to find new homes and go in and help us to start doing training and so forth with the children.
Are those generally then kids out of that region, so either the Philippines or Indonesia or India?
Right now, these are kids in the Philippines, but we're also looking for, and I think I've probably spotted a few children down in Indonesia.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the plan. I will say this, it's going to be easier in the next couple of years to open up new homes in Indonesia and the Philippines. India has some issues. There's some, I think, foreign-based or foreign-supported homes, especially if they're supporting Christian values, are not so popular in India and Nepal these days. In fact, they've closed down many children's homes.
Is that a systematic thing, or is that haphazard, or is that something that's happening a lot?
They closed down close to 1,000 Christian children's homes in India, and probably threw 1 million kids out on the streets. That happened over the last 5 years.
What are the reasons for that? Well, what's their thinking? Why are they doing that?
I think that there's religious differences. They don't like the religious differences. I'm not sure that they don't like the what they consider to be foreign influence coming in because of supporters, and teams come in to help the homes, and we've helped bring dental teams and medical teams in and so forth, and somehow or other they don't like that. Now,
but if you actually went and helped Indian homes, so homes that are run by Indian people, those are not foreign homes then. They don't like you helping, or they don't like...
I think it's a philosophical and possibly a religious difference.
Okay.
Because they're doing the same thing in Nepal. The same thing in Nepal. They're closing down most of the Christian orphanages.
So it's focused on Christian orphanages.
It's primarily Christian orphanages.
Non-Christian orphanages don't have the same problems.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. There were 7 agencies in India that were all working to close down these homes, including the one that we had. So
that's both in Nepal and in India. You have those
It's
problems.
happening in Nepal and India. They forced 75% of the kids out in Nepal in a matter of about 1 week. And this was over the past year. 75% of the kids were pushed out. And they're back in little poor villages now. Probably will never get an education, and so forth. And we've taken a little bit different approach in that we've decided that we will legally restructure and no longer call, and we've tested this with one home and it seems to be working well. We'll no longer call it an orphanage. We will register it as an educational institution and as a boarding school. Now, I grew up thinking...
Which is really, I mean, it's the same thing. The kids live there and they go to school. So
it's identical, except you have to build your own school building.
Right.
You have to build your own school and have your own school. And so the truth is they did come into our home one night. This was several years ago. And they told us all your kids have to be, there were 183 children, they have to all be gone by 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. And they were sent back to villages, and some of them hit the streets, and it was really difficult. We had seen that coming, and so we changed we were in the process of changing the legal structure We're in the process of changing the legal structure to a boarding school, in which you're only under the Department of Education, and it's a much simpler legally, and there's certainly rules you have to follow, and you have to have your own school and so forth. So we had already started working on a school building. We saw this coming. They closed this down, and now we've got 100 kids back, and the school building is almost finished and so forth. So.
Did you have to hire all the teachers from scratch, or how did that work?
The school's not opened yet.
Yeah.
The building's almost finished.
So you're now looking for teachers and staff,
a number of the teachers will come from kids that because that home has also put a number of kids through and a number of them have become school teachers. So some of them are going to come back and be teachers in the school. So again, we want to raise these kids and have some of them come back and help, and so that's happening. So there are some things that you can do. We just had to make some major adjustments there.
But that's a special case really in India. The other homes, it's generally they're really homes where the kids live, where they eat, where they get good food. They have a family and loving environment. And they go to school outside of the orphanage. So they go to school. Do they go to the public schools, or where do they go to school?
I think I won't say in all instances. In the two of the homes that we work with in the Philippines, they are going to private schools. They're going to a private Christian school, okay. And the home helps fund that. So in that instance, they're going to a private school outside. I think then for most of the homes, they're going to a public school. For most of them, they are going to a public school, and then the home is now a boarding school. We made a film on this. We made a film on this a few years ago called "Now We Are Free." Now We Are Free.
Is that film still available online?
I think it's on our website. Okay. I think you will find
so
that.
People can find it at apcf.world.
APCF.world, yes.
Okay.
That's a great film. It's about a 45-minute film that kind of gives the story of how that happened and so forth. And so that's one of our victories. We have some challenges, I'll have to admit. There was a military coup in Myanmar in February of 2021. It's been brutal. It's been brutal, very, very bloody. It's been very, very, very difficult. So we try to fly in to see the homes a couple times a year. Well, it became a little more complicated because of the lock and all the COVID lockdowns and restrictions, travel restrictions and so forth. Now that's opening back up, but we cannot fly into Myanmar. So,
Don, what's the context of that war? We in the West, you hardly hear about Myanmar at all. It doesn't seem to be in the news much. What's the background of that war? What's going on in Myanmar?
I'm not sure. There was a freely elected civilian government, which the many times that we went to Myanmar seemed like it was running well. Everything was, and then there was a military coup. And we don't fully understand the military coup, but anybody they think is opposed to them, they kill, and there's hundreds of thousands of people have been killed, and there's nothing in the Western press about this, which is too bad. It's turning into the genocide in Rwanda 22 years ago, where over 1 million people were killed, and what happened in Cambodia and the killing fields many years ago. A lot of that has been happening there. We hope and pray that it will subside and so forth, and we can start going back in and so forth. But it's difficult. So there are difficulties in some of these countries, and the truth is, and I hope it doesn't always stay this way, but right now the countries that we're going to be able to open up the most new homes in, or bring in new children into an existing home, are going to be in Indonesia and the Philippines. When we can do more in those countries, or go into Vietnam or Cambodia or other countries, we want to spread out as much as we can into countries. But right now, the two countries that are most open to allowing us to set up orphanages, not set up, but come in and support them and so forth, are those two countries. So we're looking right now for new children's homes in both of those countries. And yes, we are getting some of the children who have come out of some of our homes to help us kind of in that search. And also, we are, during the COVID lockdown, you couldn't bring any new children into hardly any of these homes. Now that's beginning to change, and one of the homes we're working with, and we're helping them with this, we're trying to bring in 20 new children into that home. There's hundreds, well, there's millions of children that desperately need to come into these homes, not only for food and shelter and safety and education, but for just a loving family environment. And I guess going back to, you said, well, what are the things we kind of look at? I think that's what we're looking for. We're looking for, among all the other things we mentioned, a loving family environment where these kids grow up and feel like they're in a family. Think of the emotional problems that children have when they're dropped off at the front door of a children's home. Think of they've sometimes been sexually abused, physically abused. They certainly have rejection and abandonment. So they come in with a lot of pain. And so at these different homes, we try to minister to that pain. Molly and I do as much counseling as we can at the different homes. And we try to just build them back up with love, care, a family environment, and so forth. So we want to give back to them what has been taken from them as much as we possibly can. No, it's probably not the equivalent of a great family like you grew up in or I grew up in, but still, we try to give it back. And I think I feel like that's what we're doing. That's what's happening.
Tell us a bit about like a normal day, if there are normal days in your life and Molly's life, but what does your day look like? I mean, every time we have a call with you guys, there's always kids around. They pop in and say hello, and it seems chaotic, but also very gratifying.
Well, chaotic is a good word, an accurate word. Exhausting could be another word. I can tell you, it ought to be against the law for us to have as much fun as we're having. Now, Molly and I are not young spring chickens. I have to admit that. I hate to admit it, but I'm 82 and she's 76. But these kids keep us young,
and it shows.
Oh, I'm in the I'm the weightlifting coach at the home that we live at, and so I'm in the gym with these kids. And we do a lot of, and when we visit the different homes around the 5 countries, we come in and we teach them English classes, not in the Philippines, they speak English there, but we teach them English classes, exercise classes. I teach them we have some devotions and some Bible studies with them and so forth. But we have so much fun. I have to admit that Molly and I there was a great movie that was made many, many years ago. You have to be very old to have seen it, but it's called It's a Wonderful Life. And it's just a beautiful story. Well, the Lord gave us a great, wonderful life, raising our 4 children and raising up a company and a financial company in America. And now He's giving us a second wonderful life for the last 20 plus years with all of these orphans. So they keep us young, they keep us going, they keep us exhausting. Privacy, no, not much. Knocking on the door all the time, yes. And so I'll walk out of my bedroom and there's 5 or 10 kids all sitting, lounging around in our living room and going over and making a cup of coffee and so forth. And so it's just a lot of fun.
Our youngest daughter actually spent, I think it was about 2 or 3 months with you guys there, and
so much fun.
So yeah, she enjoyed it a lot.
It's so much fun. So we have fun.
She said it was like a big fun summer camp, and one big family there.
It's a gigantic big family, and that's what each of these homes, and that's what we're looking for. In new homes that we adopt, we're looking for a home that's got a family loving environment. Yeah. Some of the homes are run by a husband and wife, and some are run never by just a man, but some are run by women. They both work well, but we really love the homes that have got a mom, dad. Mm-hmm. If there's a mom, dad there. So Molly and I are trying to be mom, dad. We don't run this home that we live at, but we're trying to be a mom, dad to as many of the kids as we can. Mm-hmm. it's really fun. So we have 4 kids and 24 grandchildren back in the United States, and now we've got about 500 kids. Not all of them will let you get close and close, but some will. And some will come in, and we have what we call one-on-ones with them. And so Molly and I have probably got 5 or 6 at any given time, and they'll come in maybe once a week, and we'll have an hour, hour and a half, and they'll just share with us some of their burdens, some of the things they're struggling with. And you know, after 82 years, we try to give them as much wisdom as we can. There's one young man that let me mentor him, and I met with him he's now he's doing some great work. He finished business college, and he's one of the ones we'll probably recruit and bring back in to help us. But he let me mentor him once a week for 7 years. And some of those times we'd go out to a McDonald's or something and sit there and talk. But I was able to share with him things I knew about the world, about business, about finance, about people, about the Bible, whatever. And so we do as much of that as we can. Some are more open to it, some are not. But it's very fun. It's very rewarding. Sometimes it's kind of exhausting. Sometimes we have to get away. We're getting away. This is a little bit of a getaway for us right now. But it's been just a second wonderful life for Molly and I. But
our daughter, when she visited you guys, she actually joined you for one of your trips. And she went into that trip thinking it was going to be relaxing and fun, a bit of a holiday. And she was amazed at how you guys kept going. She says, I was kaput. And Dawn and Molly were still going strong. She didn't know how you guys did it.
Oh, she would come over. We have a little gym that we set up at the home we live at, and we set up gyms in the homes we could. And she would come over and work out, and she'd get out there with the girls, and we'd have exercise and stretching classes and calisthenics and everything, and the boys would be in there, and we'd be lifting the weights. So she got involved with us in that. So we do what we can, and we're always looking for new things that we can do. But the main thing we want to give these kids is love. We want to give them the love they never knew. I can't be the father, and Molly can't be the mother that they never knew. But we can be as much of that as we can.
Yeah, and I know from Anya that you guys are doing exactly that. For those watching, and you know, I think obviously to grow APCF and you know, to also to give it financial stability, we need sponsors, and so that's obviously something we need. What I can say wholeheartedly is why I, first of all, I mean, we've been friends for a long time, so that was one reason for me to get involved. But for me, it's also important to know that every dollar that goes into that organization, there's no administration or salaries or anything. The board is all salary free. There's no money spent on anything but on what's really needed by the kids. So that's something I love about APCF.
Some of the bigger charitable organizations in the world have, of the monies that come in that are donated, about 80% go to expenses and salaries. We pay 0 salaries. Molly and I take no money. Molly and I pay all our own travel expenses. So
you've also put in a lot of money into APCF. I know that.
Well, but as you have as well, I must add. It's just something that we want to do. But when people are giving and want the money to go to the kids, they don't want 10 or 20 or 30 or even 50% of the money to go to the kids. They want it all to go to the kids. They want us to go into the things we say we're trying to sow into. So I'm not saying as an organization we will always be able, because I believe we're going to grow in the next few years, and I hope and pray we will. So I'm not going to say we're going to always have to have only people that are unsalaried. But we've done that for the last, I guess since 2006. So we've done that, and we'll do that as long as we possibly can. But we only can do this with the support of people around the world. And we've had people, I'd say an awful lot of them are from America, a few from Australia. So, yes, there's some from Switzerland. But we only exist and can keep onboarding more orphanages and more orphans with the support of people who have a heart for them. Now, I'll be honest, a lot of people just say, oh, that's so well, and they just have no interest whatsoever. But if you've ever, you don't have to have been an orphan. I came from a family that was not together, and I know there was some pain involved in that. But when you look at these kids, and if you understand the trafficking that's going on, 3 million little girls are trafficked in Asia every year, half of them in India. If that doesn't touch your heart, I don't know what does. When you see these street kids out there begging, if that doesn't touch your heart, now, okay, most people are not out seeing that. I understand that. We try to show people as many pictures and tell them the stories of what's really happening and the pain and the suffering and how we can help. We try to share that on our website. And when I go speak and so forth, there's a lot of hurting people out there. Well, we can't help them all, but we can help some. A story, I'll never forget it because to me, I think of it a lot. A story of a guy that's out on the beach and he's picking up starfish that have washed up, and the starfish are going to die laying on the beach. So he's throwing them back, and and there's thousands of them out there. And this guy walks up and says, "Are you crazy? What are you doing? You can't help all those starfish. Good grief! I mean, most of them are going to lay there and die." And he leans down and he picks up another one and he says, "Yeah, but I helped that one, didn't I?" And so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to save as many of these kids and give them a life. We're giving them a life. The reality is there's millions, there's hundreds of millions in India that are from the untouchables. The untouchables are the Dalits. That's the lowest of the caste system. You have this caste system. And most of them never get through grade school, let alone high school or college. Most of them have no life except to be street sweepers or you name it. We're giving those kids a life, and we want, if we can, we're doing it with hundreds, but we want to do it with thousands if we can. We're giving them a life, we're giving them education, we're giving them love, and we're giving them a chance to do things with their life. And that's what we're trying to do with all the homes as much as we can.
There's some, I mean, some of the stories are beautiful, and actually some of those stories we do share on the website. So anyone interested, they should go and look at some of the stories
and the pictures,
and the pictures, you know, which are beautiful. But one of the things that I was shocked about and hadn't known before I had talked to you guys is the fact that actually a lot of the problems are the parents themselves that prostitute their own children. And you've had quite a few stories and encounters with parents that want their kids back so that they can prostitute them again. And that was something that I could not understand or relate to at all.
I'll tell you a sad story. In Thailand and just across the border in Burma, we call it Myanmar now, children are bought, and parents will sell them for as little as $25. They will sell them for as little as $25, but they're told, oh, we're going to take them and we're going to give them training. We're going to and so forth.
Are you saying the parents don't know, or are you
I think in many instances the parents don't know that they're selling the kids into that. They think they're just helping the kids, but yes, they have to pay $25. And there's thousands of those kids that are trafficked down into India. They're trafficked into India.
To do what?
Oh, when you traffic kids, they're turned into prostitutes. Yeah. There's one in Mumbai, Kamatapura, in Mumbai. It's 2.5 square miles, and they have 100,000 prostitutes. 100,000 prostitutes. 20% of them are 12 years and under. 20% of them are 12 years and under, and they've been trafficked, and they're trafficked from other Asian countries, and they're also trafficked within India and so forth. We can't help them all. And there are organizations, wonderful organizations, the International Justice Mission and other, that are really working to rescue these girls and try to give them a hope. Well, that's not what we do, but as many, where we see a girl that we can keep from doing that, from getting into that, yeah, if we can bring them in and raise them up in a loving family environment, give them a life and so forth, that's what we try to do. And so, you know, we're like the starfish, we can't save them all, but we'll help the ones we can. But we're greedy. We want more. We want more children. We want more orphanages, and we need more people.
How do the orphans actually find the orphanages? So is that generally parents, good parents, or good relatives, or organizations, or how do they actually come to the home, let's say where you guys are in the Philippines?
Many different ways. Sometimes they come up and knock on the door. We had one little
The kids
six-year-old,
themselves?
one 6-year-old down in Valley that came up and knocked on the door. I think he had just run from some brutal family
So
situation.
they somehow hear about
And,
the home
and
and they
that
go
one,
maybe.
by the way, is now working with us and doing some stuff with us up in the Philippines. We
Okay.
sent him to a school up in the Philippines. Some of them come that way, not so many. Some of them are brought by government agencies. So in countries like especially the Philippines, government agencies can help you find them. And sometimes they're very bureaucratic, but they can still be very helpful. Sometimes it's family members. Sometimes it's churches that know of some kid that doesn't have parents, or in so many instances, especially in the Philippines, there's kids that are growing up. They never knew who their dad was. Their dad was there for one night and he was gone, and they're raised with no father, and the mother can't afford to feed them. And so sometimes that mother will bring them, or an aunt or a grandma will bring them, and so forth. So there's a lot of different ways they come to our homes. Government helps some of them, not many of them, just wander up to the front door like this one boy did. And a lot of instances, it's churches that hear about somebody that's, they're usually from very, very impoverished families, and they have no future at all. And so, hey, if we can give them a future, we can give them a life, we can give them an education, we can give them a college degree. They won't all go to college. They're not all going to do that. Some of them will go to a vocational school, but they get the opportunity. They get the opportunity to do it. So they get educated, they get food, shelter, and so forth. But the most important thing, they get a family to love them. So we want more. We want more orphanages. We want more homes. And if we can grow 5 or 10-fold in the next few years, by gosh, we'd love to. But that's where people like maybe some that hear this program today, people who look at our website, people who have heard us speak and so forth, and people that you and I know and so forth, people who have a heart. They hear the story of orphans and it really touches their heart. And so they've come in and helped us. And so we believe there's more people out there that will want to do that. And if they know the story of APCF and the orphans and what we're trying to do, hopefully we can have more of those people come in and partner with us.
And it's been amazing how APCF has been growing, because actually if you think about it, the market, there's not been that much marketing. It's really been more word of mouth. And I mean, you guys are really busy doing what you're doing, and yet there's always been money coming in. Problems like the project in India were able to be supported and solved, and so it's quite amazing.
I think the good Lord has blessed what we're doing, and when monies have been needed, they came in. And so we're not short of funds right now, but we are short of funds if we want to open up more homes and so forth.
Right.
So I believe there are people out there who will have a heart for orphans and what we're doing, and I don't know where they are. There may be few and far between, but they're out there, and you're one of them. You're one of them. You heard about us many years ago and got involved with us and so forth.
Well, for me, it was easy because I've known the McAlvany family for many years. We've been friends. So for me, I had some experiences helping other organizations where I was disappointed because I recognized how much money goes into administration, and that in the end, the kids were not really the main topic of those organizations. So for me, it was great to start working with and helping APCF. So for me, that's a blessing and very gratifying as well.
Well, and I think God's going to raise up more people like you and others who are helping us now, who have got a heart for this. So, gosh, if you said 20 years from now you could have 50 homes or something, great. Now, what Molly and I need to know and need to do, and you've been encouraging me on that, and other members of our board and so forth, we've got to basically be raising up the people who are going to take over from us. We will do this as long as the good Lord gives us the strength to do it, until the day we drop. We know retirement's not on our thing. we'll drop, but hopefully it'll be with us.
I think we have about 20 to 30, maybe 40 years to plan, right? So
as much as possible. I'm greedy. I want more of that too. But I think that we're going to raise up other leaders to come along, and some of them are going to be out in the field and kids that have come out of our homes, and some of them are going to be other people like and we know and so forth. So we want this to go on for many, many years, even beyond when Molly and I are still around.
Yep.
Anyway, your interest and encouragement to us has been great, and we've had other people come along, and they've really encouraged us. So, but I'll tell you what, I warn you, if you ever get involved with orphans, expect to have a lot of fun. Expect to have a lot of fun. They're keeping us young.
If you could, address a wish to those watching, and maybe also think about the future of APCF, apart from the growth, what would that wish be?
That at some point, people out there would get the vision of what we can do to help a lot of kids, hopefully thousands and thousands of kids who have no life, to get a life. And to me, to take somebody who is going to live impoverished in probably a very short life and raise them up to be able to do great things in life, that is the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my life. I've done a lot of business things like you've been successful in business. I was successful in business, and there was a lot of gratification in that. But there's never been gratification that Molly and I have known, and that other people who have helped us come out with us and so forth have known, like helping give these kids a life. So I would just hope that anybody listening, and you can certainly check out our website, check out some films we've done over time, and you can track those down on the website. I would just hope that you would get the vision, people out there would get the vision of what you can do. It is the most gratifying, self-fulfilling thing I've ever done. And I actually tear up a little bit when I talk about it. Sorry. I apologize.
Well, it shows that it's coming from the heart. You guys have quite a trip ahead of you, so I don't want to, take up more of your time, and yeah. I know you still have some other things going on, but this was great. I'm really grateful we had this opportunity to sit down and talk about APCF. And to those watching, I hope maybe you'll enjoy this story, and maybe you can help APCF a bit as well. So,
and if they want to come see us in our orphans, do it. And you need to come soon as well.
I will.
Thank you for having me.